The Lone Gunmen are a trio of fictional characters, Richard Ringo Langley, Melvin Frohike and John Fitzgerald Byers, who appeared in recurring roles on the American television series The X-Files, and who starred in the short-lived spin-off, The Lone Gunmen. Their name was derived from the Warren Commission's conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald was solely responsible for the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Described as counterculture patriots, they are ardent conspiracy theorists, government watchdogs and computer hackers who frequently assist central X-Files characters Mulder and Scully, though they sometimes have their own adventures. The Lone Gunmen author a news publication called The Lone Gunman, to which Mulder loyally subscribed. None of them have day jobs. They rely on financial backers who believe in their cause, and the revenue generated by the subscriptions to their paper. They share a loft apartment where they also work, and use a 1974 Euro 79 VW transporter to commute. Characters: John Fitzgerald Byers was once a public relations worker for the U.S. Federal Communications Commission. He was a conservative dresser with a neatly trimmed beard, a stark contrast to his grungier comrades. He had at least some working knowledge of medicine, genetics and chemistry and is known for the famous line, "That's what we like about you, Mulder. Your ideas are even weirder than ours." He was born on November 22, 1963, the same day that President Kennedy was assassinated, so his parents named him after the fallen president. His name would have been Bertram otherwise. Byers was the most normal of the three, and while Frohike and Langley were seemingly born angry misfits, Byers dreamed of a quiet, uneventful, suburban life. Byers' father was a high-ranking government official, but they never saw eye to eye, and when Byers' father appears in the Lone Gunmen pilot, the two hadn't spoken for some time. Melvin Frohike was a former 1960s radical and the oldest of the three. Though a skilled computer hacker, Frohike was primarily the photography specialist for the newsletter. Frohike had a lascivious attitude toward women. However, he had a more purely romantic attitude towards Dana Scully. When she was gravely ill in the episode One Breath, Frohike appeared at the hospital in a tailored suit carrying a bouquet. His unique sense of fashion made him stand out: leather jackets, black vests, combat boots, fingerless gloves, etc. Frohike considered himself the action man of the trio and would often be seen doing very intense stunts. Despite his childish scraps with Langley and others, Frohike's age and experience gave him a kind of quiet wisdom that occasionally surfaced when he consoled his friends about the sorry nature of their lives. In the Lone Gunmen episode Tango de los Pistoleros, Frohike was revealed to be a former tango champion who danced under the stage name El Lobo. Richard Langley was the most confrontational and youngest of the three. He was a big fan of the Ramones, and enjoyed critiquing the scientific inaccuracies of the short-lived sci-fi series Earth 2, and he had a long-running competition with Frohike over who was a better computer hacker. He also had a philosophical aversion to having his image bounced off a satellite. His nickname was Ringo. Langley was a Dungeons & Dragons player and enjoyed video games like Quake. In the LGM episode Octane, it is revealed that Langley is a 32-year-old virgin. Associates Fox Mulder, an FBI special agent who was in charge of the X-Files. Mulder first met the trio when they first formed, and they would prove to be his longtime allies and friends. He turned to the Lone Gunmen numerous times when needing information on elements of the paranormal or when he needed to access highly guarded government institutions. After he disappeared from the FBI, his X-Files partner Dana Scully, his boss Walter Skinner, and his replacements John Doggett and Monica Reyes would ask for the assistance of the Lone Gunmen as well. When Mulder was supposedly found dead, the gunmen appeared at his funeral, but when he proved to be alive, they were the ones who tearfully welcomed him back. Mulder was not able to attend the funeral of the Lone Gunmen, as he was still in hiding, but he talked to their apparitions following his resurfacing. Scully, Skinner, Doggett, and Reyes would attend their funeral, and Scully proclaimed that the Lone Gunmen meant so much to her. Kenneth Sooner, also known as the Thinker, an unofficial fourth member, a computer hacker, who succeeded in accessing Majestic 12 files and encrypting them onto a digital tape in the Season 2 finale of The X-Files titled Anasazi. The Thinker first appeared in the Season 2 episode titled One Breath. The Thinker was killed by assassins working for the cigarette-smoking man, who eventually reacquired the tape. He was referred to in the first episode of Season 3 titled The Blessing Way as being murdered, but he was not in that episode. Jimmy Bond, another fourth member, who joined the trio in the Lone Gunmen series. Though he shares the bravery and physicality of his namesake, he initially appears to be rich but not very bright, and is fascinated with the trio, who often consider him a nuisance. His saving grace is his boundless optimism, coupled with an idealistic view that the jaded gunmen wish they still held. Eva Del Harlow, a femme fatale thief who sometimes works with the Lone Gunmen trio. The alias Eva Del Harlow is an anagram for Lee Harvey Oswald. She plans to star in a biopic about Jean Harlow. The Lone Gunmen are obsessed with John F. Kennedy's assassination, which was supposedly committed by Lee Harvey Oswald. It was later revealed in the X-Files episode Jump the Shark that Eve's real name was Lois Runce. Kimmy the Geek, an expert hacker and a Star Trek fan who occasionally helps the trio. He is the twin brother of Jimmy the Geek, a character killed by a bus in the X-Files episode 3 of a Kind, played by the same actor. Suzanne Modsky, was an employee at the Advanced Weapon Research Center at Whitestone Army Base in New Mexico in 1989, who assisted in the development of a biological weapon that creates psychotic hallucinations. After she turned against their employers, she enlisted the help of Byers, Frohike and Langley in order to uncover the truth. Though she was unsuccessful in bringing her story to the public, and was abducted by the mysterious government operative known as X shortly thereafter, she was unwittingly responsible for the formation of the group as investigative journalists and their first introduction to Mulder. A decade later, Byers encountered her in Las Vegas, where he and the others helped her assume a new identity. Modsky appears in the X-Files episodes Unusual Suspects, and 3 of a Kind. Origins. In the X-Files Season 5 episode Unusual Suspects, it is revealed how the gunmen initially got together. In 1989, John Byers meets a woman named Holly in an electronics expo. Holly claims that her ex-boyfriend is stalking her and has kidnapped her daughter. She gives Byers an internet address which is supposed to locate her daughter. The file is encrypted, so Byers enlists the aid of computer hacker cable salesman Melvin Frohike. Frohike decrypts the file, but when they confront Mulder, they discover he is an FBI agent. Suspicious, Byers and Frohike get Richard Langley to hack into the FBI network. They discover that Holly's real name is Suzanne Modsky, and she is wanted for bombing an FBI lab. The three confront Modsky, and she admits that she works for the Army Advanced Weapons Facility at Whitestone, NM. She has developed a gas that causes fear and paranoia, and the military plans to test it on civilians. She then enlists the help of the three to stop the governmental unregistered trademark S plan. They track the material to a warehouse, where the gas is in a shipment of asthma inhalers. Mulder follows them and is about to arrest them when all 5 of them are ambushed by 2 hitmen sent to kill Modsky. A shootout ensues, and Mulder takes cover. Modsky kills the hitman as they're about to execute Mulder and promptly flees. A team led by X sanitizes the scene, cautioning the guys to stay out of trouble. The trio got their name as a result of Byers confronting X at this point about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. X's cynical reply was, "I heard that it was a lone gunman." The police arrive soon after. All 3 of the gunmen are arrested, and Byers recounts his story to Detective John Munch. Munch is skeptical, but Mulder verifies the story, so the guys are released. They find Modsky, and she implores them to tell as many people as they can about the government conspiracy. Without warning, a black rental car pulls up, and the occupants force Modsky inside. Later, the guys are visited by Mulder, who says that he has weird ideas in his head that he can't seem to shake. X-Files appearances. Despite only minor appearances in early episodes X-Files, the gunmen became fan favorites, getting their own T-shirts. They also appeared prominently in episodes written by acclaimed science fiction authors William Gibson and Tom Maddox. Since becoming X-Files mainstays, gunmen-styled techno-geeks have appeared on other television series, such as Brian Redeker on Millennium and Abby Sayuto on NCIS. Similar characters have appeared in many genre series. The Trio, a group of geeky would-be villains in Season 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and a pair of nerdy paranormal investigative bloggers who appear in the first season Hell House, and third season episode Ostfisses. Of the show Supernatural, while Invasion featured Dave, a rather Frohike-esque blogger-journalist who was determined to bring the truth about alien hybrids to the world. On the FX series Terriers, the main characters repeatedly utilized the services of a tech-savvy trio who operated out of an RV and were especially skilled in surveillance and computer hacking. One or all of the gunmen appeared in the following X-Files episodes, as well as all episodes of The Lone Gunmen. All three characters died in the X-Files episode Jump the Shark, which aired the year after the Lone Gunmen series was cancelled. The Lone Gunmen series. The Lone Gunmen, a spin-off of the popular series The X-Files, is a television show that aired on the Fox network, featuring the characters of the same name. The show first aired in March 2001 and, despite good reviews, was cancelled due to a drop in ratings. The last episode aired in June 2001. The debut of the show in March 2001, began with Byers' father faking his death to uncover a conspiracy to hijack an airliner. The Lone Gunmen try to get to the truth of his supposed death and uncover the conspiracy. One retrospectively relevant aspect of this pilot episode is that the airliner has been hijacked and, by the end, both Byers and his father have boarded the plane to try to stop the hijacking. Through the aid of the other gunmen, they are able to regain control of the plane and just miss crashing into the World Trade Center with the airliner. This, of course, was before the actual September 11 attacks against the World Trade Center later that year. Similar to theories posited about the events of 9/11, the episode's plot indicates that the hijacking was committed as an act of veracity by a greedy American arms manufacturer to ultimately increase its weapons sales by invoking U.S. retaliation against a scapegoated anti-American extremist dictator. Their spin-off series involved investigating mostly corporate crime, aided by a mysterious thief named Eva Del Harlow. Despite fan loyalty, the show was ultimately cancelled after 13 episodes. They returned to the X-Files in the episode Jump the Shark in the show's 9th season, where they were then killed off. They briefly reappeared in the series finale of The X-Files, as Mulder spoke to their ghosts. Frank Spotnitz confirmed that had the Lone Gunmen returned for a second season, the character of Morris Fletcher was to have become a regular one, either assisting or antagonizing the three main protagonists. The X-Files, Season 10. In the second issue of the ongoing comic book Season 10, ex-FBI agent Fox Mulder is investigating the disappearances of Dana Scully and John Doggett and receives a tip from someone with the initials TLG. This leads Mulder to dig up the graves of the Lone Gunmen in Arlington National Cemetery, to which, despite initially surprising Fox while masquerading as the cemetery's security, he is confronted by the alive and breathing Frohike. A descending staircase is unearthed beneath one of the caskets and Mulder is reunited with the rest of the trio. Their deaths and Jump the Shark being faked so they could continue their operations more discreetly, TLG are ready to jump into action when Mulder tells them he needs help pinpointing information on the Van der Kamps in order to move forward in the search for Scully and Doggett. A few questions are on Mulder's mind, however, although he's first told that their hand in the creation of the Stuxnet virus for the U.S. military in 2010 is what allows them to continue to fly under the radar. What Fox really wants to ask them is, how do you boys know I was coming again? The comic ends with a shadowy, silhouetted figure standing alone in the cemetery, just having dumped an empty pack of Morley cigarettes behind him. References. External links. The Lone Gunmen at the Internet Movie Database, Hollywood Reporter fan advertisement after show was cancelled. Archived from the original on October 14, 2012. Retrieved 2014-02-03 inconsistent citations.